Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be making another video for my car accessories series that I've been doing, and we are going to be making jellyfish themed accessories. Alright, now it's time to make the body of the jellyfish, and I'm going to be making the main part in white, and then the detailing is going to be in light pink. So we're going to start off with our magic ring. And we're going to make 6 single crochets into the magic ring. Then we're going to close up our magic ring and slip stitch into our first single crochet that we made. For our next round, we're just going to be increasing all the way around, which is making 2 single crochets in every single crochet that we have. 2, and this should of course get you from 6 stitches to 12. And then for our next round, we're going to be repeating 1 single crochet followed by an increase in the next stitch. One single crochet followed by an increase. And this should take you from 12 stitches to 18 stitches. Alright, and then after you've finished round 3, we're going to be making our color change and working in some of the detailing. And I have my own way of doing this because I don't do a slip stitch. I kind of have to I have to do a couple slip stitches or something to change the color properly, which kind of makes it interesting, but I personally think it looks better. But if you don't like the way I do it, you can totally slip stitch and then after every round and have that little mark in there, but it's completely up to you. So we're going to grab the color that we're going to be using for the detailing, and I'm going to be using light pink. And then the way I'm going to be joining it is I'm going to be pulling it through the second slip stitch. So for the next round, what we're going to be doing is slip stitching multiple times, but I'm going to make this slip stitch that I joined in here, I'm going to make it more of a chain, so I'm going to pull it really tight, and then my first slip stitch is going to be in the same stitch, and usually that doesn't work very well, but if you do it around the 2 tails, it should work better, or it shouldn't pull out or pull up the way it usually does, like that. And you don't have to work around the tails anymore other than that first one, because that's just to help you not let it pull out. Okay, and after you've made your first slip stitch, we're going to make 1 slip stitch again, and then make a single crochet. But this is going to be a different kind. So as you can see here, this is where we did an increase in the last round, and we're just going to go through that same hole that we did the increase in, pull up a loop, and make our single crochet. And now we're going to slip stitch 3 times, making sure that our slip stitches are nice and loose so that we can work into them in the next round. And then we're going to again go through the stitch that we increased in last round and make a single crochet like so. And then we're going to make 3 more slip stitches, 2, 3, and then we're going to make another single crochet again through the same stitch that we increased in in the previous round. And we're just going to keep working with this repeat until we get to the end of this round. 3 through here, and then 1, 2, 3, and then through here. And the reason that we started off with just 2 single crochets instead of 3 is because the last round with our color change is gonna not quite look right with a single crochet. So we wanted to get that one in before color change so that it would look better. And then we're gonna go ahead and make our last slip stitch to finish off our round. And then we're going to go into this slip stitch to finish off our round and make sure that our coloring is continuous around. But we're not going to finish the slip stitch in pink. What we're going to do now is cut our pink yarn. And then we're going to continue in our white and finish our slip stitch. We're going to finish our slip stitch in white and then pull this pink one very tight to make that kind of a chain, because we don't want to work through that pink one. It's not a stitch, it's just for color changing purposes. Now for this next round, we're going to continue with our increasing, and it's going to be 3 single crochet before we do an increase, but we're going to be working this whole round in the back loops only. So 1, 2, 3 single crochet, and then an increase. And the reason why we're doing it in the back loops is to make the detailing much more apparent, because since it's a single crochet, if we would do it through both loops, then it would make the pink be it would kind of cover it and you wouldn't be able to see it as well. So again, 3 single crochets and then an increase. And this should get you up to 30 stitches, I believe. Yes, 30 stitches, because the last one we were increasing with adding these, and that got us up to 24. And after you finish this first round, I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into my first single crochet just to make everything line up and look perfect. For the next 4 rounds, we're just going to be single crocheting in a circle. I'm just going to be doing continuous rounds, like not slip stitching at the end. Again, you can choose to do that if you want to. And so we're just going to make 3 rounds of single crochets, keeping our same count of 30 stitches in every single round. And I will be right back once I've finished these 4 rounds of single crochets. Okay, now it's time to change for a second color. If you want your jellyfish just to be white or whatever color you're using, you don't have to worry about switching colors here or anything, obviously, but I'm going to be making the bottom of mine also light pink. So again, I'm going to be changing colors the exact same way I did before with the slip stitch, just to try and get it as even as possible. And now we are going to be single crocheting around again. Again, I'm going to be making my first single crochet around the tails, just to hold everything in place. My second one as well, just to keep the tails from not coming out. And then we're just going to continue single crocheting for our 5th round. And once we reach the whole way around, we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into our first single crochet to keep everything more or less even. And from here, we're going to start our increases to make the frill. So what we're going to do is we're going to make 2 single crochet followed by an increase. Two single crochet, followed by an increase. I'm just going to finish my last increase. And then we are going to slip stitch and then fasten off and cut our yarn. And that is the end of the body. So we're going to start off with our magic ring for our ruffle on the inside. And we're going to make 4 single crochets into our magic ring. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Close up our ring. And we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into the first one. Just like so. And try and keep your single crochet workable, if that makes sense, nice and loose. And we're going to go ahead and increase in every stitch around, and this should get you from 4 single crochets in a round all the way to 8. That's 1, a second single crochet in that one, 2, 3 and 4 in the next single crochet, 5 and 6 in the next single crochet, and then 7 and 8 into the next one. Perfect. And we're going to go ahead and make 2 rounds of single crochets, keeping 8 single crochets in a round. So you should have something that looks kind of like this. Our increase for the next round is going to be 1 single crochet followed by an increase. And you'll just be repeating this the whole way around, and it should get you from 8 single crochets to 12. Again, the repeat is 1 single crochet followed by an increase. And then we're going to go ahead and make 1 round of single crochets, keeping the same number of 12 stitches in a round. And then for our next round, we're going to go ahead and do our next increase, or our next repeat. So we're going to be repeating 2 single crochets followed by an increase. Again, 2 single crochets, 1, 2, followed by an increase. And that should get us from 12 up to 16. And we're going to try flipping it inside out at this point. Okay. And then we're going to quickly slip stitch twice to end off this row around, and then we're going to fasten off and cut our yarn. And now we're going to go on to making the tentacles, and I'm going to be making mine in white as well. So make your magic ring, and we're going to be working all of the tentacles into this magic ring. I'm only going to be making about 4, I think. We'll see how it goes. We're going to go ahead and start chaining until we have a chain that's roughly 4 to 5 inches long. So I'm going to be chaining 20 for the length of my tentacles, I believe. Actually, just to make it safe, because I know it's going to be shorter once I slip stitch, so I'm going to go with 24. And then we're going to skip the first one, and slip stitch our way back up. Okay, I'm just going to stop the video right here, and I'm just going to say that if you want to have curly tentacles on your jellyfish, what you can do is, instead of slip stitching down the side like I'm going to be doing, you can use single crochets and increase in every single stitch all the way down, and that should get you a good curl on it. And just do that to every single tentacle instead of slip stitching. And also, if you don't want it to be really curly, what you can also do is just make really tight slip stitches down the side, and that should just give you a little bit of a curl. I just wanted to throw that in there just for anyone who doesn't want the straight tentacle look. The curly tentacles will also make it look more filled out. You'll probably want them a little bit tighter than the chains, just to give it a bit of a curl. Alright, and then once you reach the top, we're going to not slip stitch in the first chain that we made to hold the magic ring, because that will probably make it complicated. And we're just going to slip stitch back into the magic ring, and then you should have your first tentacle done. And if you want to make them thicker, you can do a single crochet, but I think that this will be quite thick enough. And then from this slip stitch in our magic ring, we're going to go ahead and chain 20 again and do the same thing with our second tentacle. And you're just going to want to keep doing this until you have 4 or however many tentacles that you want. And one thing that I'm going to be doing is making them different lengths. So this one, instead of making it 24, I'm going to go ahead and make it 28. And one of the others I'll probably do a little bit shorter. But I'm kind of going to have 24 as the medium. Length, and then make the other ones either a little longer or a little shorter, just to give it a little bit of character, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of these tentacles, and then I will be right back and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so I finished the 4 tentacles that I'm going to be having. So I did 120, I have one that's like 28, and then 2 that are around 24. That's how I decided to do it. And I slip stitched back into my magic ring, and this is where I'm just going to chain and fasten off. And at this point, you can go ahead and tighten your magic ring completely. And I'm going to go ahead and tie the 2 ends together just to keep it from coming undone. We're going to be using some of these strings to attach everything, but these 2 pink ones we won't need. So what I'm going to be doing is just knotting them together to secure them, and then we're going to cut them. I also will not be needing these ones on the side, so I'm going to go ahead and tie them off as well. You can also weave them into the side, which I will be doing eventually. So we're going to go ahead and put this string through the center. You can connect them all however you see best. So we're just going to pull this through as tight as we can and then knot it right where it is. You can sew it on if you want to, but I think I'm just going to tie it. You're just going to follow it all the way down with your finger to make sure that it goes right to the bottom. And now what we can do is when we put this in, we can just tie these two around it as well. And I'm just going to tie this around and then pull it in, hopefully. And shove it in, and then we'll just tie a knot and cut the yarn. And we have our jellyfish all attached. Now we need to make the chain for the top. So I have here about like a 2.5 foot piece of yarn. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a slip knot in here. And then I'm going to be threading it through 2 stitches on top of the jellyfish. I'm going to pull up a loop from one stitch on this side and then one loop right across from it on the other side, if I can. Perfect. And then I'm going to pull the slip knot itself through both of these. Make it tight and start chaining. 2, 3. I'm just going to chain 50, and then I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch back into at least one of the stitches that I used before. I'm going to try to get both of them and slip stitch into there to fasten off. Tighten it as good as we can and then tie it. You might want to measure on your car mirror hanger just to be sure that that fits around, but I think that's going to be okay for mine. I'm going to be feeding the ends right down into my jellyfish, right through where I connected it to hide the ends, and then I'll cut them shorter. Just make sure that it's going where we want it before we cut it off. And there we have our mirror hanger finished. I'll show you guys a little bit better later on. It's hanging in the car, but that's what it looks like so far. And now of course, I'm going to show you a little matching coaster idea to go with it. Okay, now for the coaster, we're going to start with a magic ring. And we're going to make 6 single crochets into our magic ring. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then tighten the magic ring. And we're going to slip stitch into our first single crochet. And make sure this is loose enough to work into later. And now we have our 6 stitches in a round. What we're going to do now is we're going to increase in every single stitch till we have 12 stitches at the end of this round. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then for our next round, we're going to be having a repeat of 1 single crochet followed by an increase. One single crochet and then an increase, and this should get you from 12 stitches to 18 in a round. And for our next round, we're going to be repeating 2 single crochets followed by an increase. Two single crochets, 1, 2, and then an increase in the next stitch. And this should take you from 18 stitches to 24 stitches. After you finish this round, what we're going to do is we're going to do a color change. We're going to make 1 slip stitch, and then I'm going to be making my color change through here. And you're going to go ahead and grab the same color that you used for the detailing. And we're going to be making the same detailing on the coasters. So what we're going to do is pull our pink yarn through this slip stitch to do our color change as best we can. We're going to be doing 3 single crochets in pink, 1, 2, and 3. Well, sorry. We're going to do 4 because I forget we're not going to increase. Instead, we're going to be doing kind of a double crochet, go in through a stitch on the previous one, pull through 2 loops, and pull through 2 loops. And then we're not going to be skipping any stitches. We're just going to keep working along, and then we're going to make 4 more. And then we're going to again make a double crochet through this next stitch on the previous round, and then we're going to make again 4 more single crochets, 2, 3, 4, and again I'm going to just show you guys close up. So what I mean is this stitch here, we're going right through where it was made in the previous row, and make your double crochet, and then continue along, not skipping any stitches like I said before. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And our double crochet. Our double crochets are going to be working as our increases because we are making them but also not skipping any of the stitches, so that will automatically increase like we were working at before. And then once I have these 2 left, I think I'm going to right away switch back to my white to pull that through the last one. And then we are going to be making our next round in white and also in the back loops like we did with the jellyfish. So here you can go ahead and cut off the pink yarn because we are done with it. And we're going to go ahead and make 4 single crochets and then a decrease. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, or sorry, not a decrease, an increase. My bad. we're going to increase right here, and this should get you, so the previous round should have gotten you to 30 stitches, and this one should get you to 36. And now for the outer rim, we're going to be making some shells to make it lacy on the side. So we're going to skip the first stitch, and in the second stitch we're going to be making 4 double crochets. So it's 2, 3, and 4. Skip the next one and slip stitch into the second one. So now we're going to do that again. We're going to make, so skip the first one, make 4 double crochets in the second one. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we are going to skip the next stitch and then slip stitch into the second one from where we were working. And then again, skip the next stitch, 4 double crochets into the second one from our slip stitch. 2, 3, 4. Skip the next one and then slip stitch into the second one from where we're working. And you're just going to be repeating that the whole way around. And as you can see, we're getting this little lacy edge, which is kind of similar to the bottom of the jellyfish. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish this round, and then I'll show you how to finish this off. Okay, now that I've finished all of the shells going around, you're simply just going to slip stitch back into this starting place here for the round and fasten off. And that is it for the coaster. So you're just going to fasten off and cut it, and then we're going to make sure that everything is tied off all nice and neat. And of course you can go ahead and weave the ends in and stuff, but I usually don't worry about it for the car coasters because they're going to be flipped upside down anyways, so it doesn't really matter. And there is your coaster. And that is all for today's tutorial. I got another car accessories one for you guys. Of course, if you want to, you can take my tips on how to change this and put curly tentacles on it instead of straight ones if that's what you would prefer. But yeah, that is it for this week's video, and I just hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. And if you are going to make it, or if you like what you see, don't forget to like the video or leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.